Alright, I'm filming this intro after the fact because this started off as a very different video. It was supposed to be just a standard behind-the-scenes unboxing of a guitar that I've wanted for a long time, but the situation just devolved into the most wild experience I've had with a psychotic eBay seller. I mean, this dude was unbelievable, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's rewind, get into the unboxing, let me show you the guitar, and then I will tell you this dumb, infuriating eBay story. The FedEx guy just dropped this off yesterday, and I'm really excited about this one because I've been searching for something like this for quite a while, and I think I finally found the perfect one. But with eBay, there's no way to really know until you open it up. Right, Koshi? Ah, it's not the same, right, Brinkle? You're such a good dog. Packaging is a little sus. There's random bits of tape everywhere. Let's go ahead and open this thing up. Holy shit, that looks pretty. I have some concerns already though, but first, let me tell you what this is. So I have always wanted a birth year Les Paul Custom. Yeah, I know I just got the Murphy Lab and I have a problem, but there's something special about a birth year custom. Now, 90s Les Paul Customs are some of the most expensive, so when I saw this one pop up in totally not collector's edition and modded, and with this outrageous flame top, it was an okay price, but still a little more than I thought it was worth. So I was like, okay, let's talk to the seller, see if we can negotiate out a price. If you watch the channel, you know the guitars I like to buy. I don't give one fuck about pristine condition. I want the players' guitars, the ones that have been trashed, the ones that have been broken, beaten, and scarred. Not only do they have more mojo, for lack of a better term, like they have a better story behind them, they're also way more affordable if they have things like a ton of dings and scratches in the finish, a fucking non-factory, non-matching for some reason Bigsby, where they've actually drilled a hole into this beautiful top, you bastards. A headstock break that's had a very sus repair. Yeah, that is not flush at all, but it's fine. Wait a second, that's not a second one, right? No, that's just a finish check. More dings and buckle rash. Yeah, I mean, the back is scratched up as fuck. Someone played the shit out of this. Look at that. Oh, that finish rubbed off from the neck. Ah, it feels so good. It feels so quick compared to new guitars. It's very difficult to see, but you can kind of make it out here. But there's some finish checking that's starting to take place on the back of the headstock. Very cool. Man, I've not seen a better top on a Les Paul Custom, and this is on a birth year Les Paul Custom, no less. Obviously, the hardware, the pickup covers, disgusting, but that comes with decades of playing. Now, all that was disclosed. That's how we negotiated a price. However, this knob's a little fucked up, wasn't disclosed, don't really care, not a big deal. But listen, it's stupid, and I kind of hate this about collectibles, but if you do anything to a Gibson, anything irreversible, any sort of mod whatsoever, anything not stock, you destroy the resale value. Including a nut swap. This is clearly Graphtec and not the original bone nut. Not disclosed, again, not really a big deal. Love the Nutmasters on a guitar decades old. This might have been a thing that I would have done anyways. But the bigger deal, and you can see this because the frets are absolutely fucking massive and there are no fret nibs, is this guitar's had a refret. Again, undisclosed. And this part generally wouldn't piss me off either. I mean, I like massive frets, but whoever did this fucking refret job had far more gumption than fucking skill. What the fuck is going on here with all the excess glue? With these deep tool marks, like you can see the frets aren't seated properly. Some of them don't go to the edge of the fingerboard. I'll throw up some stills here with my real camera because my phone isn't great at showing the actual damage in the fingerboard, but it is bad, dude. There are a fuckload of chips missing from the fingerboard. Some ends just straight up aren't in there. Yeah, just random glue drops because fuck it, why not? Like, come on, man. You can't just not disclose this shit. Okay, I'm gonna give the seller the benefit of the doubt because, in fairness, they did package it quite nicely, so I feel like they know what they're doing. But yeah, that was not disclosed. that wasn't in the price that we negotiated on. So that's gonna be on the seller to hopefully put things right, because the top is fucking awesome and I would like to keep this guitar very much. The neck shape feels really nice too. I'm also gonna get my luthier Wendell to double check this headstock brake fix, because after that undisclosed damage, I kinda don't trust it. But yeah, hopefully we don't find any additional problems, and then the seller is reasonable about the very obvious undisclosed damage, because then I can put this back to stock or even mod the shit out of it to my personal specs, because I mean the resale value is fucked anyways. But yeah, that's my new birth year Les Paul Custom. No buyer's remorse yet. I'll just be real disappointed if we find out the neck is twisted or we can't sort this out. But for now, that's where we're at, and I'll meet you guys back here with an update. Okay, so here's where it starts going off the rails. But before we get into that, let me tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Fume. Now, you know how everyone has those bad habits they've been trying to break forever? Maybe you've tried a couple of things and it just keeps coming back. Breaking a bad habit outright is hard. So wouldn't it be great if you could start by just taking the bad out of the bad habit? Well, that's exactly the philosophy behind the innovative, award-nominated device, Fume. So Fume is an air diffuser. No electronics, no vapor, no harmful chemicals, just all natural flavored air, replacing your harmful habit with an innocuous one. And for years, I've had this terrible habit of biting my cuticles. It looks so bad in the unboxing videos. When I'm stressed or just bored, it's so bad. I was immensely skeptical, but I started using Fume and already my cuticles are looking better. It's also way fresher feeling than I'd been expecting. So if you're ready to see why over 100,000 people have used Fume to break up with their destructive habits in a fun, all-natural way, head on over to tryfume.com/agafish and use my code agafish to get 10% off your order. That's tryfum.com, code agafish. Link will also be in the description. And of course, clicking the link helps support the channel by letting them know that I sent you. And while you're checking that out, let's get back into the video. All right, I've pulled up the original listing, and I'll blur out some details for the seller's privacy. Gibson Les Paul Custom Plus Sunburst Quadruple A Maple Top, Bigsby headstock repair. This guitar is made from 1991 to 1998, original issue run. Cool. Heritage Cherry Sunburst has faded beautifully and looks like something Dwayne Allman would have played. Bigsby was added to this beautiful guitar. Appraisal without a repair on this guitar would be $6,000. The current value is $4,500. It's just not worth that much though, is it? Phil McKnight's talked about this a lot. Upgrades or part swaps do not increase the value of your guitar. In actual fact, keeping it stock is the best way to retain your guitar's value. If you have to upgrade, make sure that it's reversible. That's why I love the Hipshot upgrade kits. They don't leave holes, so when it's time to sell the guitar, you can just put the stock tuners back on. It's like the Hipshots were never there. Here are the photos, not the highest resolution. I mean, there's no way I'm gonna see that there's a horrific fret job or the fingerboard's been mutilated from these. So yeah, at this point, here's me thinking this should be relatively straightforward, right? I've got photo evidence of the undisclosed damage that's clearly not in the listing. Let me hit the seller up. Should be fairly easy to explain the situation and to get this resolved. So, I write to him, hey man, thanks for packaging the guitar so well. You start off with a little bit of honey. It arrives safe and sound, the guitar is sick, love the top, and the repair feels solid. It's clear someone loved this guitar and played the heck out of it. Right, go on the charm offensive. But now let's get down to business. The listing didn't mention the non-original nut or the refret that wasn't visible from the pictures though, and the refret is really not good. The fret nibs are gone, which I'm not too concerned about, but some of the frets are hanging off the edge. There's a lot of excess glue in the fingerboard, chips out of the ebony, and a ton of deep, ugly tool marks. It's not irreparable. My luthier has fixed guitars in similar situations before, but it's a pretty pricey repair. I've attached some pictures of the fingerboard damage, but it's much more noticeable in person. Definitely love the feel of the guitar, and the neck is great, so I'd rather not return it, but this needs fixing. How about this instead? If I have my luthier quote a repair cost, would be okay with covering it. Thanks, Hunter. And I attached pictures of the damage. In hindsight, maybe I didn't need to mention the non-original nut, but I was a bit annoyed because negotiating with this guy was a pain in the ass. I was willing to walk away. He kept wanting to push the deal through, but also he was adamant that his guitar was worth $4,500, which it's just not, even without taking into account the war crimes committed on that fingerboard. Anyway, so he responds, that would depend on how much the repair costs. My tech does refrets for $100. I don't believe that for a second. I got this guitar just like you see it and never had my tech look at it. Here's the thing though, that's not my problem. That's his problem. I mean, awesome, we have that backstory, I guess. The guitar was listed as one way and it arrived with more damage than was advertised. I don't think you need a tech to see how f***ed up the fingerboard is. Like, the fact that your tech didn't look at it, the fact that you got it in this condition is completely irrelevant. So at this point, you know, the charm offensive has failed. So I say doing it properly to get all the glue and tool marks out as well as filling in the chips will almost definitely be more than that. I understand you got this guitar as is, but this is stuff that should have been shown in photos and disclosed in the listing. Only the Bigsby and headstock break were disclosed. Again, I don't mind getting it repaired. I can have my luthier take a look and put an itemized quote together for you, to which this man has the audacity to respond, let me know the quote, "I'm sorry for this, but I discounted the guitar $200 already, so I don't mind splitting the cost of the work to a point." Bro, it wasn't a fucking discount. Are you kidding me? It was a negotiation to find a price that we were both comfortable with based on the information disclosed in the listing. So at this point, I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna take it to Wendell's. I'm gonna have him check it out and see if it's even worth keeping. Because if he didn't have a tech look at it, who knows what's going on with that headstock break. So I take it to Wendell's. He's blown away by the top. He checks it out. Turns out the frets might be extra jumbo stainless steel already, which would be perfect because that's what I love on my Les Pauls. But yeah, it's not gonna be cheap to clean that fingerboard up. And the tool marks are so bad, you can actually feel them when you're playing, which is absolutely no good. And then I had Wendell check the neck, and at first he thought it was twisted, but it turns out whoever did the headstock repair just put it on wonky. So like the neck is straight, it's just the headstock is very much off axis. So it looks derpy as hell. Again, I don't care as long as it functions. These are the kind of rescue puppies that I like. Now, unfortunately though, none of the frets are level. Well, kind of. It's like every other fret is high. So it's like every other fret is level with each other, but as a whole, it's f***ed. So I get the quote from Wendell and I send it back to him saying, hey, sorry for the delay. I could only get to my luthier today. He took a look at it and it turns out while the frets can be saved, they are not level at all and are sticking out all over the side. So it will need to be leveled and redressed to make it playable. He gave me an estimate for repairing the undisclosed issues, bad fingerboard damage, and sloppy refret, which I've attached below. And since this guy has already been pushing back on doing the right thing, I decided to just lay it out there as direct as possible. Since these things were undisclosed and would have affected the value, eBay gives us two options. Either I send it back because the item was not as described, and in that case, eBay has you fully refund the listing price and original shipping, and you are required to pay for return shipping as well. Or the easier thing to do would be to issue a partial refund in the estimated amount so the undisclosed issues can be repaired. Let me know what you want to do. Thanks, Hunter. And then again, I cannot believe the audacity of this man. Hey Hunter, I get that you looked at this and scrutinized this with minute detail. You tell me, does this look like something that needs scrutinizing? Paying for a fret crown and polish in the amount of $282 is exorbitant. I told you I would give you $100 because that's what my tech charges for a refret. I'm willing to increase that to $120 because I know you live in Atlanta. Everything has to do with preference, and ultimately it's your call. So keeping the guitar and getting an extra $120 sounds like a good deal to me. Are you fucking kidding? We're not talking about a fret preference thing. We're talking about a fucked up piece of wood, a blatantly fucked up piece of wood that you did not mention when I bought this thing from you. So now that I know I'm dealing with an idiot, I go back to the charm offensive. Hey, totally get you. The problem is it's not just the frets that need leveling, crowning, and polishing. Whoever did the refret badly damaged the fingerboard in the process. The second item on the estimate is $100 for the labor cost in repairing the trashed fingerboard. I've attached pictures down below showing the deep tool marks and chips that will need to be smoothed out and filled in. Ignoring all the excess glue that needs to be cleaned up, it's not small damage that's only noticeable from a distance, but luckily it is fixable. And if you know me, you know I'm pretty impatient. So at this point, I'm just like, you know what, I'll cover some of it out of pocket. That way I'd never have to talk to you ever again. So I say, let's call it $200. I'll cover the rest of the amount to fix it up. Appreciate you working with me to easily resolve this. A bit generous, but we move. Within minutes, this bag of dicks responds with, what I'm saying is it will not cost $200 to do the work. I don't mind helping. I'm trying to help you. As a seller, you didn't disclose certain things. This is your issue. And the penalty you would receive as the seller if I send it back because the item was not as described is far more than what I'm asking for to just bring the goddamn guitar into the condition that you listed. Anyways, he says, but you got a $200 discount. Again, this guy with the fucking discount, but you got a $200 discount off the top and asking for another discount of 200 bucks. That's a lot of money that I would just be throwing in the trash. I get nothing to show for the trashed money. If you want to keep the guitar and willing to compromise, let me hear the figure. From where I sit, $120 is over. So I've just had it with this guy. So I say, okay, our negotiation was not a discount, as you put it. We negotiated on a price for the guitar without taking into account, 1, the refret, which affects the value of the Gibson because it is no longer stock, and 2, the associated fingerboard damage, which again is literally damage that affects the value of the guitar. Neither was disclosed and therefore is grounds to send the guitar back because the item was not as described in the listing. Look, I'm giving you every opportunity to make it right, and I'm not even asking for the full cost of what it will cost me to repair. It's literally going to be more money, quote, in the trash for you if you want me to just send it back because you're refunding the listing price, the tax, and the original shipping I paid. On top of that, you're responsible for the return shipping and a percentage transaction fee to complete the refund. eBay's rules are very clear on that, linked to the policy. I'd prefer to come to a compromise because it's better for everyone, but if a return is the route you want to go, I can go ahead and initiate that. Like, this guy literally doesn't understand, or he's too prideful to acknowledge that a refund is going to be more expensive than just bringing the guitar in line with the condition of the listing. Again, within seconds he responds, I'll do 140, I'm not into semantics. If not, I'll initiate the refund. And from a petty standpoint, I was like, fuck it. All right, I don't need this guitar. Let's fucking do the refund. It's gonna cost him hundreds of dollars in eBay and payment and shipping fees. And then I guess I'll just buy it again when he has to relist it. But instead, I try to give him one more chance. I say, okay, just triple checking one last time that this is what you wanna do. eBay will not refund your seller fee. The seller fee plus return shipping is way more than the amount that I'm willing to compromise on. I'm really not trying to cause you unnecessary cost, just offering a fair solution. And in response, I get, I'll tell you what, if you can live with yourself on this decision, I will overpay you $100 and give you the $200. Certainly not worth all this hassle and banter. Cork sniffer guitars are always the worst to deal with when selling. Cork sniffer, have you seen the fucking condition of this thing? This is not a pristine condition Les Paul Custom, and I've saved you hundreds of dollars in non-refundable fees. And then he goes, it's done. You should at least give glaringly positive feedback because of going over and beyond. What a douchebag. I will leave a review, but it's not gonna be glaringly positive. I mean, I really didn't need this guitar. At the time, all my friends were telling me, just be petty and send it back. And maybe, because in the end, this less than pleasant person got my money, but I really wanted to keep this beautiful, already pre-devalued birth year Les Paul Custom. But yeah, that's the story so far. The guitar is at Wendell's right now, along with like 5 of my other guitars that he's working on. The guy is the best luthier in the Atlanta area. He's in super high demand. And listen, I know, Mom, I know, my Asian side is screaming too. I should have just sent it back instead of paying anything out of pocket. It wasn't a great deal. I mean, his starting point was ridiculous. He said that the guitar praised for, what, $4,500? And he's saying his luthier does refrets and defix fingerboards for $100? Fucking Narnian guitar economics right there. But oh my god, the top. And the fact that it's already messed up means there's no guilt in swapping out parts and really making it my own. I mean, I could have really done without the seller being so much of a dickhead, but at the end of the day, the guitar looks so fucking good. It's gonna be an absolute beast when it's all fixed up. I will keep you updated. I've got cameras over at Wendell's, so when he starts working on it, we can capture the whole experience. Again, Wendell is in super high demand. That guitar is like at the end of his queue, so hopefully I have the guitar back. It'll be playable and a video out in the next couple of months or so. Massive shout out to my amazing patrons for making this and every other video possible. Their names are up on the screen right now. Consider joining them if you like what I do. You can also join as a channel member or pick up some high integrity merch. It's really comfortable, and every little thing actually really helps support the channel. Social media, merch, and Discord server links are in the description. Really appreciate you guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I will see you for the next video.